We did it. Good morning. Rise in freedom. It's Friday on the Wake Up America show, and I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Good morning, everybody. We're glad to have you here. Thank God it's Friday. You all know there's lots of reasons to be happy on Fridays when my beautiful, smoking hot, redheaded, libertarian wifey, Steffi, is in the house.
Hello. I was just telling you this morning, I feel so awake today. Hazel's sleeping so much better.
Like somebody does.
Yes. Seriously, I'm getting now, I would say a good 4 hours of solid sleep, which is amazing.
Well, I'm really happy for you, Stephanie, and I can imagine that the people who are out there listening to the Wake Up America show that are sleep deprived are like, so keep that to yourself.
It gets less than 4 hours, to be quite honest. 4 hours is a pretty bad baseline.
If you're getting good sleep, then you must not be on a presidential campaign right now, because those people are working overtime, especially the Kamala Harris campaign.
Do you think she gets barely any sleep?
Oh, yeah. And they had a rally on Oprah yesterday.
I heard about that. I had no idea Oprah still does shows.
Yeah, she still does propaganda for Democrats when it's necessary.
We were just watching her the other day when she was interviewing a woman who got her face basically
ripped
cut
off by a chimp.
Yes.
Yeah, did you see this new Netflix documentary that's come out? It's like this new chimp documentary.
Yes, we were starting to watch it, but it was terrible.
It was kind of bad, but a lot of the stories from that are from Missouri.
Oh, interesting.
Chimps, Missouri chimps.
We know
chimp, and we have a chimp story in Missouri.
Yeah.
It's not a go. They should have. It didn't happen in time to make this documentary, though. Unfortunately, for the people. We can talk about that a little bit later. Good morning. Good morning. If you're a regular guest on the Wake Up America show, I see many of you already clicked that like button. Thank you. If you haven't already, just a reminder. And if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show and you say to yourself, this is a fun crew, I want to hang out with them again, the follow button is how you will be able to find us again for our regular schedule. Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's the Wake Up America show. Nancy Mace, she's this kind of pretty Republican congresswoman, 46 years old. She is, oh man, she's getting the revenge against the creepers, the DMers, the sleazy DMers, like no woman has ever gotten revenge against the sleazy DMers.
Wow. I've never had any sleazy DMers before.
That is just Stephanie.
All the people say in my DMs are like, hello, how are you?
You have never had anybody say show Bob's or Vagine?
No.
You're lying. Why are you lying?
No, I just, nobody's ever been interested in me in that way. It's so weird. People are just usually respectful of me. Even in the Libertarian Party, they were always so nice to me.
Okay, well, I'll send you some requests for nudes later. How does that sound? Okay, good?
Thanks. I'll show you some Bob's and Vagine.
How do you think a little baby Hazel got there today? And she is here today. Baby Hazel on the scene and on the set. However, no. You cannot see the bonus baby until we hit that bonus baby content mark. I think we're going to hit it fast today. I don't know.
$100.
It's $100 to unlock the bonus baby. It's $60 to unlock the bonus content that we have. Mm-hmm. And today's mini documentary is really good. And it's about an issue that I think a lot of people, especially those who are into technology or work in any kind of tech sphere, would be, or photography, are going to be interested in. So if you'd like to help unlock today's bonus content, I know Fridays are paydays. So today's a good day to do Rumble rants, YouTube super chats, or go to forlibertyshop.com and get yourself some sweet new merch.
Or you can subscribe.
You can subscribe, become a monthly subscriber. Absolutely, okay. Right? That's great. Dad Bod Baboon, hopefully not a baboon in Missouri, says, have you guys checked out Matt Walsh's website, dotheworkshop.com? Have not checked that out yet, but thank you for the tip, Dad Bod. I will check that out.
I don't know about that.
A little bit later. Cecilia, who got the sweet Quackers and Packers custom.
Oh, I just said to you last night, I'm like, we need to make car seat covers for her. And you're like, she already bought them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're so fast.
Yeah. I found like a 10, 15 minute window where I could make those yesterday. I was like, Cecilia's going to love this. And she did. And she ordered the Quackers and Packers car seats.
Glad you like that. I think I made that design originally. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yep. No, I made that one. The ducks with the guns.
Because I really remember it.
You might have put it on another design, but I made the design. So yeah, that one I remember. Quackers
kind of have
and
a feud over who designs what.
Well, not really. I'm happy to give you credit for lots of things and share credit where it's due, which is a lot. But I'm pretty sure that the Quackers and Packers was mine. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. You can get not only Quackers and Packers. Yeah. She bought the velveteen blanket at first.
The blankets are so nice.
And then she's like, I wish I had this in a car seat cover. And now she does.
Wow.
So then there's also like combat boots with Quackers and Packers. Goodness.
You need to just get all decked out in the Quackers and Packers. We need to make like a Quackers and Packers shirt and pants.
Yes, Quackers and Packers.
All Quackers, Packers.
Quackers and Packers. So anyways, if we sell more Quackers and Packers merch today, maybe we need to send some to Kamala Harris actually, because as it turns out, she is armed and dangerous. Did you hear about this, Kamala Harris?
She has a gun in her pants.
No, that's Michelle Obama.
Oh boy. Yeah, people wonder.
Is that a gun in your pants, or is that just Michelle Obama? Oh.
How dare you?
No, Austin, no. It's too early for this.
Was a prosecutor and a police officer, right?
Yeah, Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
I don't know that.
I know you don't. You've never seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
A long time ago. We need to rewatch it.
We need to rewatch it, just like you had not seen like Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's World was excellent.
Well, excellent. Party on, dudes. But here's the thing. No, that's Bill and Ted.
Kidding.
No, here's the thing. You've got a million movies you need to see. That's just one of them, but we'll get to that. Greetings from Boston. Yeah, Joey Marv. Speaking of Boston, we've got a little announcement to make today. A secret surprise guest today, not from Boston. Yes. We normally have Justin Peterson, my brother, for Freedom Family Friday, but he ditched us to go to a funeral. I mean, who does something like that?
What an excuse.
Yeah, exactly, right? Boo. So Justin will be joining us maybe next week, but today we actually have a special guest, and we consider them to be Peterson family, not official, but Peterson family. It fits in just perfectly with the Freedom Family Friday dynamic. So we do have a special replacement guest for you an hour from now. We won't say who it is just yet. So we've got
all the way from Boca Raton,
Florida, right? But he's not Jewish. And we're going to hear from them at 8:00 this morning to talk about all the fun stuff. We've got a billion clips. We've got lots of fun bonus content. We've got a bonus baby for them. Stephanie, is there anything more we could be doing for these people to entertain them in the morning?
I don't think so. And you put it all together so seamlessly. I mean, just 30 minutes ago, you were like, I have barely anything to talk about. And now you're like, you have all this stuff. You're so fast.
I know. Imagine like this. I do all this stuff by myself. Imagine if I had like a real full-blown team.
Yeah.
Like if I had like a producer producing this and all this kind of stuff. Imagine like the quality of the content that I could bring to this audience.
I know.
If I had a team that I could manage. As it is, we're bootstrapping it. We're a small business. We're a small family, and we're growing. So we have certain expenses on things, and we're expanding. I've invested our family money into Daniela and Liberty Tonight, the new shows. So, it's
our family money. I know, we're running out of formula. We have barely any left.
It's supposed to come in the mail today.
It was supposed to come in the mail yesterday, now it's supposed to come in the mail today.
It just reminds me, about all of the challenges that we face. And when I saw this story over on The Blaze, I was like, oh, this is a good story we got to talk about. This is someone over on The Blaze says that like the breastfeeding bullying essentially needs to end.
Oh, yeah.
And did the breastfeeding bullies ever come out of the woodwork? They are so mad at The Blaze, Glenn Beck's outfit, for publishing this article. And they also, and Steffi, this is kind of like an arrow at your heart, they also were going after the natural birthing.
I know. They were really making people mad this past week. I don't know who's been writing these articles.
Well, conservatives have gone really crunchy granola. Right-wingers have really gone crunchy granola in the past 15 years.
Christian housewives.
Yeah. They've all gone very crunchy granola. And so the breastfeeding, all the natural stuff, like, and there is a naturalistic fallacy, which is just because something's natural, that means that it's good, right? But that's not true.
Yeah.
There's cyanide in apples. You know,
Right.
there's formaldehyde in breast milk. Did you know that?
Yes, I think I did,
Yeah,
and
so
also in vaccines.
It's poison. It's poison. You know, like people don't understand dosage, so they're just like,
right.
"Yeah, it's natural, therefore it's good." Well, you know, a tiger is natural, and it'll rip your balls off.
I have faith in
Eat
medicine.
your face.
I do have faith in medicine, modern medicine, and I've seen what happens to babies who have parents who don't believe in medicine, and the babies die.
Purple-headed warrior over in the chat, which I think is supposed to be slang for penis.
What? Wait a second.
Purple-headed warrior.
Purple-headed warrior.
Slang for penis. Says, hello, fellow Missourians and libertarians and non-retards. Yes, can confirm.
Oh, wow.
The 145
That's so
people.
inclusive.
Well, exactly. Non-retards. All the retards are the ones who are not watching us. But if you're a Missourian and you're not watching, it's okay.
But libertarians are typically retards.
They can be.
Is it like a diagram of the diagram here? Fair. Are we all included?
It's not fair to call libertarians retarded. I think some of them are.
Yes.
But most of them are just plain old autistic. So
right. Autism is not retardation. Right. Mental retardation.
Exactly.
Yes. That's right.
Exactly. So we've got those stories to talk about: boobs, breastfeeding, the naturalistic fallacy, crunchy granola conservatives. We've got a $60 bonus content level to hit. We've got a $100 bonus baby content level to hit. Let's just get right into the stories, okay? Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, a little gossip. Nancy Mace officially entered into the congressional record her messages from an unhinged CNN panel host, thank you, Benny Johnson, hitting on her in private after blasting her as a white supremacist when he had an on-air meltdown for mispronouncing Kamala's name.
Wow,
so,
I think he has a fetish.
Yeah.
It's some sort of like white supremacist fetish.
Yeah, and then there's the black Nazi in North Carolina story. There's another thing that he called himself a black Nazi in a porn site, allegedly.
Oh.
And he's running for the Republican governor of North Carolina.
I'm sure that turns people on so much.
Yeah. It's there was somebody who got canceled a while back for that being their fetish. It was somebody
not black Nazis are the person's fetish.
No, it was Sandra Bullock's ex-husband or something, and he had an affair. He cheated on Sandra Bullock of all people, and it was with some chick who was into like Nazi leather and all that kind of stuff. She would wear like Nazi armband and insignia, and he cheated, and she was just like trash, and Sandra Bullock was like hot and amazing, and he like cheated on with this like Nazi leather chick. So it was kind of this big scandal.
It doesn't matter how hot or awesome you are. Men, as you've told me before, they will F anything. They don't care. So women, you're still beautiful, you're still great. It's just a man's mind is so different.
It took me a long time to convince you about that. Like you didn't like you like a lot of modern women who had bought into this idea that like a man would like not do anything, like that we would, for some reason, they would not just do anything. They would not just cheat with anyone. Like it had to be hot or whatever. And I'm like,
because I always felt so subpar, you know, if a man showed interest to somebody else, but you helped me realize that it's not me that's doing anything wrong. It's just a man is wired to want to spread his seed everywhere.
I know we got to be careful about this conversation. It's getting a little spicy, but it's okay. It's okay. But it's true. It's just that, it's just some weird chemistry where like a man sees like a heroin addict behind a dumpster and he's like, yeah, I might throw away my entire life for this, you know?
Right.
You know, it's just sad. It's weird. It's sad. Not all men. I know many of you are perfect Christian men who would never.
A woman, she would give up the best husband in the world who's so good to her just to be with a bad boy. Yes. Okay. So women, we've got our own issues.
Right. Anyway, so let's play the Nancy Mace clip. Get past the drama so we can get to the Kamala Harris Oprah stuff that everybody's pining for. Right? Here we go. This is what he said about her that sparked all of this on CNN. There's no audio on this. Hold on. I'm going to have to start it over again. But
if it's Bruce Birtwhistle saying there's no audio, I don't trust him.
It's not Bruce Birtwhistle. It's hold on. There we go. Okay. Going back. Here it is. Now they can hear it.
That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
Oh, so now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a
BS.
racist.
That is complete.
No, you don't have to intend racism to accomplish
You are intending that
your
I'm
disrespect
racist,
of Kamala
and
Harris
that
is part and parcel of a
offensive.
tradition of disrespect.
Why can't you just,
Congresswoman? Why can't you just?
I'm not calling you a racist. I'm saying what the practice is racist.
You are. You absolutely are.
Disrespecting. No, what's disgusting is your disrespect of her.
Professor,
this gentleman said, I didn't know her name. He's trying to do it.
Is her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
white women don't have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is, to tell them they're not real women.
25 years
ago, for your babies,
25 years ago, I became the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the military.
Okay, so that's the exchange that they had on air.
And that's the man that is DMing her.
That's the man. Well, see, yeah. So Mace has really been on a tear, man. She's been on the warpath. Hold on, I'm trying to find the picture that they took together. I've got it up here somewhere. I've got a billion clips.
He likes to have angry relations with women.
Yes. So Nancy Mace, she posts this photo. She says she entered his flirty DMs into the congressional record today on the oversight committee when one of my left-wing colleagues tried to bring up the fake outrage over mispronouncing Kamala. Professor Dyson wasn't too bent out of shape after all. He tried hitting on me after he tried to call me racist on CNN. I, of course, didn't take the bait either time. She posts the DM. I've got it pulled up on the screen there, where he's got his hands around her. I mean, she looks voluptuous, and he looks.
He has a photo with her.
They took a photo together, yes, and then
he's touching her.
And this is after he called her a racist. Yeah, he's got her arm around her waist with the stupid-looking cuffs and his dumb tennis shoes, and he says, "Shh, don't tell anybody. We look good together." And she's like, ha 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 ha. And he says, well, your gorgeousness makes the photo, so there's that. That is some real show bobs and vagine energy, like, darling baby, how are you, my darling? You know, like, it's very. Are you telling me you didn't even have Indian guys send you DMs, Stephanie, on WhatsApp or anything, like show bobs?
I've never had
a show bobs.
Have that.
God, I've had Indian guys send me show bobs and vagine. You know, if I didn't have if you didn't even have an avatar for it was some vaguely androgynous name, then the Indian guy would think you were a woman and they'd be like, show bobs and vagine.
I mean, I've had robots message me where they'll be from some weird website and they're like, click my link. But they send that to everybody. That's not a personal message. So,
here's the thing. So on one hand, he's ripping apart for all this, for being a terrible racist white person. And on the other hand, he's like, I want you to enslave me, baby. Take me.
He's doing it in a really pure and nerdy way. He's a little shy.
You're
so gorgeous.
Well, that's what you think.
Instead, he should be I want to tap that. Whatever.
Hold on now. Wait, let's hear from Nancy.
He's not going too full blown dirty with her. He's being nice.
I think that's not the only interaction they had. Listen.
Oh, really?
I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged
That's so
me
embarrassing,
for photos.
dude.
In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
The guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
She has a bit of a plunging neckline there in Congress, which I approve of.
Yeah,
Nancy Mace is kind of hot.
There's so many good-looking people in government coming out of the woodwork.
It's no longer Hollywood for ugly people. Now it sucks because the standard used to be that you would be a good politician or had good policies, but now it's you got to have an excellent set of tits and you've got to have nice hair and all that, right? In order to get in
government.
Yeah, you've got
baby. Now I really have a nice pair here.
Show us your tats, all right? Hey, baby.
Yeah, maybe I'll get
show pops and vagine. Hey, girlie. We want your sex. This show is just getting absolutely disgusting. This reminds me of how much liberal girls love conservative men. Oh, that is so true, man. That is so true. We do. We do. Liberal girls, they love conservative men. There's just, it's a domination fallacy, or not a domination fetish, right? Where it's, and this black guy probably wants her to be like, oh yeah, I'll take you down to the plantation. You know what I mean?
Here's
like,
the thing is,
whip me.
We tend to
everybody has weird fetishes, like the black Nazi guy, which we're going to get to.
We actually play out our traumatic events in our life in our sexual fantasies.
Yes.
That's a thing. So like if you've had a trauma back in the day, you might actually find that to be arousing when you're an adult. It's kind of weird.
Also, if there is such a thing as generational trauma,
then he finds a slave master to be enticing because of his trauma.
If I had to have a slave master and it was a white woman, if it was Nancy Mace, I don't know if I would leave the plantation. I think I'd stay right where I'm at.
Right. Yeah.
That's massive.
Like, what if you're being raped by a really pretty woman, you know?
And then you want it, then there's no such thing.
Right.
It's happened. I'm sure once or twice. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, things have gotten really weird and really dark and really sexy really fast.
How's everyone
good morning
to it? Are they okay with it? Or are they offended?
It's hard to tell. I mean, listen, if you don't understand the fact that this is a libertarian show, and we try and make it for normies as much as possible, like, be approachable, right? Don't be freaking weirdos too much, but we're approaching like libertarian levels of autism
we're not,
here, almost.
I'm not saying any swear words. I'm not saying any derogatory terms.
There's a lot of innuendo for sure, but yes. Anyways,
interpret it how you please.
But anyways, moving on. We've got the interview that Kamala Harris did with Oprah. It was really just more than anything a rally, I think, for Kamala Harris. And,
probably.
Yeah, and she, I think probably the most interesting revelation from that was probably a lie that Kamala Harris is a gun owner. Anyways, I don't have these in order right now because I was rushing, but here are the clips. Here we go.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country.
Pause. Do they really? Do they really? You know what I mean?
We love our country.
Yeah, we love we love our racist country full of racist people who owe us reparations and the legacy of slavery, which has destroyed our culture. We love our country. We love this country that despite when we're not in interviews like this, we're talking smack on every 5 minutes. Yes, they love our country.
I hate to say it, but this is why she's going to win. Because she's talking to people in such a way where they can connect. And they're like, oh, yeah, I do love my country. Oh, yeah, I like Kamala. She makes me feel good.
American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people.
She's making me so mad.
All right, let's hear it. Go.
She's making me so mad.
Rant.
She's like, we need to come together. No, you were just calling Trump a Nazi and a dictator or what, like a few months ago? Mm-hmm. And it's like she's saying we all need to, sing Kumbaya.
We have so much in common with Nazis.
Right. She's pulling this out of her butt. Seriously, this is terrible.
Well, and it's boring as hell. So she Oprah wanted this interview to end because it was so boring, right? Like Oprah, she wants to get the juice.
Chimp lady with the face.
Yes.
She wanted to get to the juice right away.
Exactly. It's like Dr. Phil when he had Shelley Duvall on and she was talking about the aliens or something like that. And she's just like, right before she died, and they're just like putting the cameras in her face. Listen, I've seen producers do this. I've worked in the mainstream media. I remember when the very first interview when I was just a young lad right out of college and I moved to New York, I got some interview where it was just me talking about cell phones and how the bills used to because you used to have roaming and it would be like $500 on your bill.
Oh my God, I remember. Yeah.
So the producers would basically tell the interviewees what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's not really an interview, right?
No.
They're just producing. It's like scripted. It's like reality television. So
That's what it is.
Yeah. So when you watch mainstream media, if they have a focus group, you shouldn't think necessarily that person is saying what they actually believe, unless they're saying something vaguely right wing or conservative, because they would never tell them to say something like that. So if they do, it's usually they're wandering off the plantation. But normally the producers tell the talent or the people who are on the show, they tell them what to say.
Kamala talks so slowly. I mean, listening to her is almost like ASMR in a way. It's peaceful.
Yeah, well, she's putting you to sleep, and that's the point. It's a rope-a-dope act. So she's trying to get you to nod off, so you realize that she's not saying anything. It is a legitimate strategy, right? It goes back to Stephanie, and thank you to Steelbringer for the $5 donation. Says she drives him nuts.
Thank you.
That's $5 towards the $60 goal. And towards the $100 goal for the bonus baby.
It's a new person. I don't
Steelbringer. He's kind of new over there.
Cool.
Yes. What were we just saying though?
So anyway, she talks really slow, and there's a point in that. You said people have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. So it's that concept that I talked about you with the Blues Traveler song, the hook.
Right.
It's that there's that politician in the music video, and they sing that lyric where he says, where he's singing, "Doesn't matter what I say as long as I say it with inflection," right? There's something amiss. I'm being insincere. Familiar heroes from long ago, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Right. So it's called
her. She's like, "We love America." She's using all those key words.
And another tactic that people will use is called a gish gallop. A gish gallop is something that somebody does in debate typically, where they will just throw as much stuff as they can at the wall and see what sticks. And then if you attack one of their positions, they'll fall back to a different position to defend something else that they said. They'll say, "Oh, that's not what I said. I'm saying this is what I'm focusing on," right? So that there's so many different things that you don't know what to attack, right? You can't attack them all at once, right? So Kamala will frequently do a gish gallop as well.
Oh my gosh, this is deep stuff.
Your husband is a presidential candidate who appeared in nationally televised presidential debates. Lovely lady.
Wow. So really, next time you run for office, you just have to do an ASMR interview where you're doing
Stephanie,
glass ringing.
Don't get it wrong, Stephanie, that here's the thing. This is the sad reality. The more you reveal about yourself, the more you risk alienating people.
Oh, sure.
So, for example, your community, right? I'm not for circumcision of male babies, okay? Not for circumcision of female babies either, but not for male babies. But if I reveal that to you, I'm being honest about what I feel about things based on my deeply held convictions.
Right.
You don't care. The Jews don't care about my deeply held convictions. They're going to cut the baby's penis tips off, right? They're going to do that.
Who literally came to me during your presidential campaiign, and he was like, "How could you like Austin Peterson? He doesn't believe in circumcision." And this was my Jewish friend. Yeah.
Well, first of all, 90% of the world doesn't believe in circumcision. 95% of the world.
But America.
America.
We like our peepees to look a certain way.
Yeah, it's a long, dark, sordid story. But here's the thing: I revealed that. See, so that's what I lost that support.
Yeah.
Right. So
what should you have done instead?
What Kamala did. Right. If you ever see me running for office again, which will probably never happen, but if you ever do see me running for office again, and you hear me doing things and saying things like, "America is a great nation, and we are Americans, and our differences may divide us, but there's more to us as Americans than the differences that we
You sound like that woman with the turtleneck who worked for that.
Oh, what's her name? The blood draw lady, the
she's in big trouble now. Theranos
lady
you
who
sound
faked the
just
things.
like her because she talks really slow
and really low. Yes.
Yes.
So if you ever see me running for office, you could say, "Wow, Austin's really trying to win this time." Actually, you know. But if I'm running for office again and you hear me telling you the truth about things, you can be like, "Oh, he's definitely going to lose."
Wow.
See, like, for example, like the honest members of Congress, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, and those guys, you're like, oh, they got elected, right? And districts that they're getting elected in, do matter. Kentucky's not Missouri. But also they sort of rode the Tea Party wave. And and Rand Paul almost didn't make it across the finish line. Mitch McConnell endorsed somebody else against him. So it was tooth and nail to get those two truth tellers in Congress. And even they can't all the time be saying what they mean, except for Thomas Massey. He's basically the only really safe one, right? And even Mike Lee has to watch his mouth sometimes.
Can't they get voted out at some point?
They could, yeah, but probably not in Kentucky, not in their home states, right? So, but the problem with Missouri, with someone like myself, is while there is a libertarian streak in Missouri politics, we also have a strong Democrat Republic. There's like a Dixiecrat kind of feel here.
With St. Louis and Kansas City, there's a lot of Democrats.
Well, it's not just our urban areas. Like our rural Republicans.
We saw that.
Yeah, our rural Republicans, they vote Republican for politicians, but they vote for Democratic ballot measures, and they vote for Republican politicians to put in Democratic policies. That's what Missouri is as a state, because we used to be a Democrat state for a long time, and there's a lot of statist, authoritarian, big government, rednecks in Missouri.
Yeah, it really shocked me because we were out in Columbia, Missouri, and we were out in the really rural part, and I saw Kamala Harris signs. I saw a Pride flag. I was like,
Dirt Road Democrats.
I had never heard of these people before. I thought like everybody out in rural areas were Republicans.
No, because it's a long, complicated history. But I mean, going back to old Harry Truman, whose picture's over here somewhere.
We put him on the chair the other day. That was so funny.
Yeah, now we've got the bonus baby cam set up on Hazel. But yeah, I'm thinking about making Harry Truman a guest on the show again in the future. But Pink Amy in the chat wants me to tell you, can you tell your co-host she's really pretty? I like her smile.
Oh, wow. Maybe Amy will send me a DM.
Show Bobs and Vagine.
Aww.
Yes. Thanks, Amy. We appreciate that. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show live right now, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson, and my lovely wife, Stephanie, is joining me on the set here today. On Fridays, we call it, what do we call it?
Freedom Family Friday.
Yeah, and typically 30 minutes from now, we'd have my brother Justin join us on the set or on the show, but he can't in Boston today. But don't be too disappointed. We're going to have a great family Peterson member.
And he's really smart. This person's an inventor, like a rocket scientist. He's like all these things.
They're an attorney, a rocket scientist, an inventor of medical innovations and products and things like that. But you wouldn't know because he's like a surfer dude kind of vibe. He was in our wedding.
Yes.
He was one of my groomsmen, and I've known him for years. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about men's mental health stuff and a few other things as well. We have dived to the bottom of the ocean with this man, you and me.
Oh, we literally have.
Yes, we literally have. Yes, we have. We've seen the sharks and the fishes and the stingrays at the bottom of the sea with this man. So he's a very special person to us, and we're looking forward to introducing you to him about 25 minutes from now. We're a little behind in terms of fundraising this morning on the Wake Up America show, but that's okay. We've still got time. We've raised $5 towards the $60 goal, but I think we're still going to be able to do it. Do you think that we're still going to hit the $60 bonus content mark?
Do it. Yeah.
I wonder if they want to even see the bonus baby today. Do you think that they want to see Hazel or no?
She's 2 months old now. So she's getting bigger and older, and she's wearing a really cute outfit.
Yes. So if you guys want to see Bonus Baby, we've got to hit the $100 mark by the end of the show in order to unlock the Bonus Baby content. We have a long string of unbroken bonus content every day. We hit that unlock. And when we do, we come home and we're excited and we're happy and we're like, thank God the show will continue and I don't have to go look for welfare. But also we know that we can reinvest in the show, especially when we're hitting that $100 mark, guys. So what I recommend, head to forlibertyshop.com. I made a new shirt last night I think people will like.
Columbus Day.
Do we have any Italians in the audience? Grazie, molto bene. But Columbus Day gets a bad rap. It's anti-Italian discrimination. So I got a request for a shirt that said, make Columbus Day great again. And so I made it last night in the shop, and you can get it exclusively at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. I've got it up on the screen right now. You can see, make Columbus Day great again.
That's so cool.
Don't wear this one if you're planning a trip to a Native American reservation. They're not huge fans, but
that's funny.
Make Columbus Day great again in a variety of colors, available now exclusively at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4.
I've never seen a Columbus Day shirt before. This is certainly a first.
There you go. Make Columbus Day great again. Mighty Megatron is part Italian. He making a pizza.
I can't say I'm Italian, but a lot of times Jewish people remind me of Italian people. We talk very similarly with our hands, and we're very loud, and usually we have dark hair and features.
Do you have Danish in you?
I don't know. I have a lot of European on my dad's side.
Would you like some?
Oh. Yeah. Hazel has Danish in her.
Yes, she does.
Because you made her.
She's 1/4. 1/4 Dane. Yes.
Yeah.
1/4 Dane, 1/4 French, 1/4 Russian Jew, and then 1/4 what your dad is.
Oh, yeah. And I also am Polish. My great-grandfather was Polish. From Poland. My great-grandmother was from Russia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like Italian food and Bob's and Vagine. Dad, Bob, Baboon. Me too. Settle down now. Gross. Yes. The chat is really enjoying the sexy talk this morning.
Are they?
I think so.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It's Friday. We're all in a good mood, right? Is anybody out there getting paid today? Is today payday?
I get paid every 2 weeks, so it depends.
Must be nice. I only get paid when people decide to drop a quarter in the tip jar here.
Yeah. But then I do get paid weekly so it depends. Some people get paid weekly, some every 2 weeks, some monthly. So it just depends where you work.
Yep. We've got a lot more fun and a lot more content for you before our friend Vince joins us. Don't forget, though, get those Rumble Rant donations in. And you know what I'm going to do? Just for kicks and gigs, I'm going to head over to YouTube this morning because for whatever reason, like my channel is not being as suppressed anymore as it was. And for some reason, I think like Joe Spinella and a few others at Dash, for example, and Trump One are joining us a little bit more regularly over there. And some of them have been making donations as well. So I just want to give them some love in the chat.
People sending you hearts right now?
No, that was me.
Oh.
I was sending myself hearts. Yes, I was.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you to Steelbringer says half of Southern Italians are part Jewish and most European Jews are part Italian. But did you know that Sicilians are part eggplant?
You're so funny.
They are.
Oh, and there's like a hidden meaning behind eggplant too. Uh-oh. Now I'm going into the weeds.
You know, the Moulignan.
Moulignan.
You know?
Is that from The Sopranos?
Stephanie, yes.
My goodness.
You're starting to understand pop culture.
The Sopranos is a great show.
Yes, the Moulignan. So, yeah, if you're Sicilian, there's a scene in True Romance, this one movie, where Christopher Walken's character is an Italian Sicilian guy, and he's a mob guy, and he comes in to like kill this guy, get him information out of him. And then there's this monologue that Quentin Tarantino wrote about how Sicilians are part Moulignan, part eggplant, if you will. And so
I just remember the Golden Girls woman. She was from Sicily too.
Yes. Thank you for
the little grandma.
Thank you for being a friend. Oh, thanks so much. Somebody actually did make a contribution over on YouTube. It's Spinella.
I did too.
It's inside. Yeah.
They're like, they see us.
That's right. And there's a new order over at forlibertyshop.com.
What are you people doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing, Joe? Thank you.
Chainsaw sticker.
Sweet.
Aw. Oh, 2 items.
Nice.
Wait, so there's something else.
And a box of patriotic perk. There you go. Thanks, guys. We're getting that. 3. Oh, wow. We just crossed the bonus content line for the $60 raised.
Already?
Yep, we hit the bonus content. So we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to play the bonus content before Vince comes on. Oh, I said the name. It's Vince.
Well, they don't know him.
They don't know.
I don't think they know him.
You're going to love him. Yeah. He's a lot of fun. He's going to join us here in about 20 minutes. But when we have to go to break to go get Vince, then you guys get the bonus content. So now all we got to raise is $40 more for the bonus baby. Mm-hmm. So if we hit $40 now, between now and the end of the show, then they get to see the Hazel Cam, which is cute little baby sleeping in her little chair. Sleeping. So thank you guys. We appreciate your support, your financial support, Joe Spinella and Side, and many others as well. I'm very clearly an I-tie, says Spinella. Grazie. Molto bene, Joe Spinella. He knows about the Moulignon. And Side says, my great-grandfather was a Hungarian Jew. There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tradition. Somebody needs to sing a little bit of Tevye this morning here on the Wake Up America show. Don't forget, guys, click that like button and subscribe to the channel. There may only be 9 people who are on YouTube watching us there, but there are 6 likes, which is a great ratio.
Oh my gosh. The people who are watching really want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let YouTubers show you guys up over in the Rumble chat. 213 joining us live over on Rumble this morning, guys. Let's get some likes. How about it? And how are we doing over on X.com this morning? Normally, our one staffer is on the case, and he's helping us to get a nice big audience over on X.com this morning. God bless Elon Musk. 820 people. We're number 2 right now on X.
Wow.
Friday morning is usually a slower morning anyway.
Okay.
But we are number 2 on X.com this morning, which is pretty good. And I think we could cross and beat Florida's Voice Radio. They're at 1,500.
Never even heard of that before.
Yeah, and we are beating Real America's Voice as well this morning, which these are big shows. And they have a lot of money and a lot of resources. So I saw yesterday there was some guy like Graham Allen, who seems like a cool dude, and he has a show that competes with mine in the morning. So a lot of times he's like number 1. Sometimes I beat him and I'm kind of like, yeah, right, get to number 1.
Right.
But he had like 5 people on his show.
What?
And I was like, and no shade to Graham himself, but it takes them 5 people to do what I can do with 1 person on this show.
Wow.
So, one and our staff, who he doesn't like to be named, but yes. And then of course the lovely support from my wife and my child. Yes.
Thank you.
Couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you, Purple-Headed Warrior, this morning. We appreciate you very much for your support.
Warrior? Are you a liberal?
No, Purple-Headed Warrior means like penis.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
When you say purple hair, I always think of liberal.
No, Purple-Headed Warrior. So they call it purple-headed because it's been mercilessly abused. It's like,
oh my goodness,
to some
I'm
extent.
Learning so many things.
Yeah, we need to get away from that. We need to get away from that. We need to get away from eggplants and moulignons and purple-headed warriors this morning. Kamala Harris tells Oprah she would shoot someone who broke into her home. Take a listen.
No.
Take a listen.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah. That was so on purpose.
Yeah.
I hate when people say, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that." It's like you said that so on purpose, and you know that it's gonna do great.
She's trying to act like she hasn't said things. Like yesterday on my show, I played a clip of Kamala saying that it doesn't matter if you own a gun legally. We're gonna still walk into your house and check on make sure that it's like stowed away properly or whatever.
She said that.
Yeah.
Walk into your house without a warrant.
Yeah. That she would that they doesn't matter if you're owning it legally, which means if you're doing it legally, then they can't walk into your house without a warrant and check to make sure that you're using it appropriately. So so now she's a gun owner. Now she's pro Second Amendment. She is whatever.
And that mandatory gun buyback program that she wants to do as well.
Oh yeah, mandatory gun buyback, banning of quote unquote assault weapons, all of that stuff.
But yet she has a gun and would shoot somebody.
But now she is all of a sudden she's Mad Max the Road Warrior. She's Tina Fey or whatever the character is. Tina Turner, not Tina Fey.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. See, Oprah was talking.
What kind of gun do you use?
You could barely hear her because Oprah kept chatting.
What kind of gun? You know, That's what I would have said.
What do you have, an AK-47?
Yeah, what is it? What do you a rifle, pistol?
Right.
What do you use? Shotgun? What do you use, Kamala? What's your gun? What kind of gun do you use? Oh, well, I'm not going to talk about what kind of. It's like, oh yeah, sure.
Police issued gun?
Yeah,
Does she still
doesn't-
have one from when she was a police officer or something?
It's a lie.
A Glock. She probably has a Glock.
It's a lie. No, if she has anything, it's probably, what do they call? What's the gun that the Moulignans buy? It's the
Carcano?
Oh no, Stephanie, that's your husband who owns the Carcano.
Okay.
No, the pew pew. What's the $150 gun that explodes in your hand that's made of plastic?
The cannon, the
hand cannon. Yeet cannon. Thank you, Stephanie. Cannon. You got it. She's got a yeet cannon.
I always think of MJ. MJ is a wizard online. She always says,
"Oh,
yeet.
Morgan is a wizard."
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a gun. She's got a gun. Sure, she does. She's got a gun.
It's just so, Kamala's the worst actress in the world. She's like, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, oh my God, we don't believe you.
Here's Kamala Harris answering questions about the border or not.
It gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected president of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
What bill is this?
Listen to this. A majority of young Americans, 18 to 34, say that the cost of living is their top issue.
So she had rambled for so long.
What does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about
she's rambling here.
Problems or fixing problems?
Oh my God.
Yes.
My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that
so Oprah has to go back because she's gish galloped off into Nowheresville.
She's distracting.
She's distracting him, and then the original question was, "What will you do about the border?" So Oprah has to reset the question.
Now that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected
to secure the border,
of the United States,
she had a chance.
I didn't even know what bill she's talking
right
about.
Now.
She could be talking about any bill.
It's about securing the border.
Okay, so she would secure the border, but she also likes to fix problems because it's within her capacity. Mm-hmm. I think we all like to fix problems because it's with any politician could say that exact same sentence.
I like this meme.
That's the thing. All her sentences are cookie cutter. This
is the exact moment that Oprah Winfrey realized that Kamala Harris is dumber than a box of rocks. This picture. Quest Fanning says maybe she learned the Waltz obfuscation trick. The intruder will, quote, get shot, but by her security. Probably true. Glad to have you guys here joining us live on the Wake Up America show. A little bit less than 10 minutes until Vincent Memo joins us.
Yay! I love analyzing Kamala Harris's speaking.
Well, all right. Well, then I'll tell you what. Here's a clip I'm going to play for you. You analyze it. Ready?
Oh, sure.
Go.
We are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism is to fight for the ideals of who we are. We are an optimistic people.
You know, when they do the things on Twitter where they're like, okay, type this word and then see what comes up in your suggested words. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what she's doing. Every sentence she makes, she's like just looking for a suggested word to plump into her sentence. Because she talks so slow, as if she's like orchestrating this sentence as she's going on. She has no idea what word she's going to say next. And like she uses so many synonyms. She's like, we have dreams, aspirations, we want things. It's like those all mean the same thing.
Yes.
And then she keeps repeating herself. We are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic. Like, why do you have to repeat yourself? We know what you said. We can hear you. You're talking slow enough.
Because I mean, listen, it's on purpose. Okay. It's not an accident. It's not
it's
like
so cringe. Like it makes me want to gouge my eyes out because it's so slow.
She's dumb, but she's not stupid, right? She knows the game that she's playing. She knows how to get elected. This is what you have to do. This is when you say you think that she's going to win, it's because of things like this. It might drive you crazy, but you're not a normal person, Stephanie. You're not the type of person to sit down and watch ABC News 30 minutes at a time and not go, well, this is bullshit, and then turn it off, you know?
The thing that makes me so mad is that every manager I've had in the past in the corporate world has sounded just like her. Mm-hmm. They all talk in circles and say nothing. And this is exactly how all of my meetings used to be when I was in the corporate working world. So it's just like, these are the people that rise to the top. Yeah, people that just feed you BS.
And it's always been that way, right? The crap has always risen to the top.
Yes.
But I mean, when conservatives and libertarians, when we talk about something like the United States is not a democracy, it's because the crowds are fickle, right? It's because we wanted to be able to protect minority rights against the tyranny of the majority, because most people fall for this kind of crap.
Oh, they do.
This is why the left wants to get rid of the Electoral College. One, because they know that a Republican will never become president of the United States ever again because of high population states like California and New York, for example, but also just because they know that the masses of the people can be, I mean, Abraham Lincoln had way more faith in people, I think, than I do. Like, he had, his statement was like, you can fool the people, all the people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And Bob Marley even quoted it in one of his songs. But I think you can fool almost all the people all of the time. And I think that there will always be like a remnant of people who will be awake, who will be understanding of what's going on and the game that's being played and manipulation.
Oh, just like when Hitler was in power, like there were people that hid Jews in their house.
Yeah. That was the exception. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to think that they would be the good guy under the totalitarian regime, but when it comes down to it, very few people are. And we saw this with COVID, right? We saw people reporting on their neighbors for petty things, right? Turning their neighbors in. Yeah. And then you had people like Tim Walz sending police officers out. I told you about this. Shooting people with paintball guns who are sitting on the front porches. But this is the society that they have in store for us. That's what the left wants. It's comply or die. Mm-hmm. Comply or die. And if we can't kill you, then we will pepper spray you. We will paintball you on your front porch.
We're not really hurting anyone. Right. Just a paintball bruise. No worries. Right. The thing I hate to admit is that what Kamala promises for the people actually sounds pretty awesome. Like, she was saying she wants to give $25,000 to everybody who's trying to buy a house. She's trying to give more child tax credits.
Yep.
I mean,
well, a lot of those promises actually she copied from Donald Trump because he made them first.
Oh.
And then she copied them.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know he'd give us money to buy a house. That's pretty cool. But it's like, you know, in terms of me being selfish, it's like, I want those things.
I know you do.
So cool.
That's what most people are, Stephanie. They just gimme. They don't want to work for it. They want the government to do it for them. And it's like,
it'd be so easy.
See, this is why the accelerationists have a point, right? The people who want like the republic to fall, like, or the empire, if you will, to fall at this point, is that because they believe there's no hope, there's no chance of redeeming this. We are on a path towards destruction. It's going to happen democratically, and that we should just take as much as we can get.
Let's just have fun.
Yeah, right.
Let's just go down with the ship.
You could just go get your bread and head on down to the circus and watch the Coliseum Games, your Hunger Games, and live the rest of your life in your measly life in peace. But we have a beautiful baby in the corner. Her name is Hazel Rose Peterson. She's got a future, and we're going to fight for this republic. Damn it, we're going to fight for our beautiful daughter, Hazel Rose Peterson's future and for the American Republic and for our daughter. And our next guest stands for these exact same ideals that we do. As a matter of fact, when I first started my career in freedom fighting in 2008, I asked for volunteers to show up to help me make a video for the Libertarian Party when I was in Washington, D.C. in 2008. And guess who answered the call? Vincent Mamo answered the call. We go way back. He was in our wedding, is one of our groomsmen, and he will be joining us here in less than 5 minutes. So don't go away. Keep the Rumble rants and the super chats going. Head over to forlibertyshop.com. During the bonus content, we've only got to raise about $35 more until we hit the bonus baby point, and then at that point, it's time for us to bring in Hazel. Okay? And right back.
Sounds good.
With Vince on the Wake Up America show and the For Liberty Network.
Supreme Court showdown over free speech rights. State boards use outdated laws to target content creators, raising urgent questions about free speech in the digital age. Old school journalists use typewriters and flashbulb cameras. North Carolina content creator Michael Jones gathers information with drones. He follows all privacy and safety laws, but unless the Supreme Court intervenes, state regulators stuck in the past will shut him down. In his petition for review, filed September 9th, Jones seeks First Amendment protection for his work. The underlying question is urgent. What counts as speech in the digital age as technology advances from movable type to thermal sensor quadcopters and next-generation tools not yet invented? Jones does not produce a community newspaper, podcast, or any type of political commentary. He takes aerial photographs of private property with the owner's permission. Then he stitches the images together into high-definition maps for clients. He gathers information, organizes it, and publishes it, just like Benjamin Franklin and other print pioneers in the 1700s. The only difference is the purpose. Jones does not seek to shape public opinion. He just wants to earn an honest living. The First Amendment should protect him the same as if he were producing books or art. Millions of content creators would benefit from this protection, including coaches, consultants, professors, trainers, and advisors with specialized expertise. End-of-life doulas Akila Murphy and Donna Peaser talk about death. Traffic light enthusiast Mats Jarlstrom discusses mathematical formulas for timing yellow lights. Retired engineer Wayne Nutt talks about math. All these individuals have received cease and desist letters from regulators citing occupational licensing laws that attempt to block their speech. More recently, censors came after Ryan Crownholm in Los Angeles. His so-called crime? Using publicly available information from sites like Google Maps to make digital drawings. Homeowners and contractors use these drawings for permit applications when they need to show proposed locations for pools, sheds, and similar improvements. Other clients include hotels, resorts, and farmers markets that want visual representations of their land for planning purposes. Like Jones, Crownholm also petitioned the Supreme Court for First Amendment review on September 9th. Our public interest law firm, the Institute for Justice, represents both men. Courts sometimes call what they do occupational or professional speech. Legal opinions extend the First Amendment to all manner of words and images, but the Supreme Court has said little about occupational speech and the licensing laws that attempt to stifle it. As our colleague writes in the Harvard Law Review, this ambiguity has led some lower courts to conclude, in conflict with virtually all established First Amendment principles, that occupational speech is entitled to no meaningful constitutional protection. Nifla v. Becerra, a 2018 Supreme Court case from California, clarified some of this misunderstanding. A 5-4 majority held that occupational speech does not exist in a separate, lower-tier category. Speech is not unprotected merely because it is uttered by professionals, the High Court ruled. Despite this clarification, abuses continue. The attacks against Jones and Crownholm illustrate how regulators cling to power. To skirt NIFLA, they simply redefine speech as conduct, which becomes easier with new technology. NIFLA dealt with printed notices, which are easily recognized as speech. However, people are not so sure about aerial photographs and geographic information system maps. Regulators exploit this uncertainty. The North Carolina Board of Examiners for Engineers and Surveyors sent Jones his first warning in 2018, the same year as the NIFLA ruling. Regulators eventually told him he was guilty of the unlicensed practice of land surveying because his aerial maps contained basic information about distances. Even a scale bar, they claim, can turn an aerial image into an illegal, unlicensed land survey. Surveyors measure property lines for deeds and other legal documents. Jones does not. His clients understand that. If they want official documents, they go elsewhere. Crown Home's sitemaps are similar. Yet in 2021, the California Board for Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists accused him of surveying without a license. Both cases underscore the need for Supreme Court guidance. New technology can be intimidating, but people have been gathering, organizing, and publishing information for centuries. Regulators need to respect this and stay within their lanes. Land surveying boards should have no problem finding the outer limits of their authority. Boundary setting is what they do. Yet they continue to encroach on the realm of speech. When this happens, courts must step in and draw the line for them.
Haunted by high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house, but hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At 4libertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. Or your candy. 4libertyshop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit aporlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Hope you guys are doing great. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in mid-Missouri, Jefferson City, Missouri, across the street from the Capitol. On Fridays, we call it Freedom Family Fridays. That's the day that I bring on my very special treasure, my smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson, in the house.
Hello.
How you doing, Steffi?
To be here. I'm so glad Hazel continues to cooperate every single week.
So far, so good. And we are like $25 away from unlocking the bonus baby content.
Wow.
So
we're going to get there.
So the camera is on. It's ready to rock. If you guys want to see the bonus baby, we just got to raise $25 more by the end of the show. And if we do, then you unlock the baby cam. Yes. Gratuitous. Exploitative.
Put all this money into her college fund. Do not worry.
Nah, we're just going to blow it on weed and hookers. Just kidding.
You're not making a good case for us, Austin.
Just kidding. They know what's up. They saw Daniela Pensac's beautiful new camera setup yesterday that I sent to her for her new show that's part of our For Liberty Network. And wait until you guys see Liberty Tonight. You watched Liberty Tonight, the new show.
I enjoy their humor very much.
They were good. Mm-hmm. They were good. King Libertarian and Brian P. Otter are bringing a new kind of like, not SNL so much as like kind of like Tonight Show kind of vibe to the Liberty sphere.
News segments have an SNL vibe.
Yeah, so
definitely
a new comedy show live, part of my For Liberty Network, our For Liberty Network. And of course, your donations go to help us to grow and to send equipment to all of our new shows and all of that stuff. The For Liberty Network, right? And it's all part of our freedom family. And on Fridays, I bring on the people who are the most special to me and share with you, the audience, a little bit of personal history about AP for Liberty. Who is this guy who ran for president unsuccessfully and Senate unsuccessfully and then unsuccessfully did maybe a few other things, but had some other successes in some other ways? As a matter of fact, some of my first successes and greatest successes when I first started my career in politics were supported by someone who was a very close friend of mine, who not only was the very first volunteer for me when I worked for the Libertarian Party way back in 2008, but you and I, Steffi, we have dived to the bottom of the ocean with this person.
We have.
We have scuba dived with this. His name is Vincent Mammo. He is an inventor. He is a patent attorney. He is a rocket scientist, and he's Italian. Grazie, molto bene. He's joining us live this morning. Vincent Mammo, a very special.
Higher IQ than all of us.
Morning, Vince.
Hey, good morning, you two. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for zooming in from Boca Raton this morning, Vince. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just talking the other night at that, all the time that you've had the show on, I'm like, man, I wish Austin would invite me on the show. And bells must have been going off because you're like, hey, Vince, you want to be on the show?
Well, if there's someone who's like not my brother by blood, but who is my brother by choice, then that would be you, Vincent. And Mark Maranta, who is our good buddy, who probably wouldn't even want me. He's so paranoid that he wouldn't want me to even say his name. So I won't again, but we are libertarians together, and we've been trading text messages about the state of the world in the last few weeks. Mark has always, I'm going to say a bad word, so if you have little kids, cover their ears. Mark has always thought, since 2008, Mark has always been on the we're fucked train, right? And like, I'm always been the guy who was like, we're going to get through this. This is how we fight for liberty, blah, blah. And you're always kind of been a little bit more on maybe Mark's side of things. How do you feel now in 2020 from 2008 to 2024? Have things gotten worse in your mind?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I could say that in my opinion, right, every 4 years when an election comes up, I think to myself, there's no way they can get worse than this. And I find myself habitually saying that every 4 years.
Oh yeah.
I hear and talk to a lot of people out there that they're like, can we just get a normal person that's running that'll, not on the extreme on either side. Um, not to say that, we have candidates that are like that now or that don't espouse some of the ideas. But look at the common plight, right? You talk to most people, they're not better off now than they were 4 years ago.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, Vince, you've always been very grounded in reality. I mean, despite some of the, cosmic questions that you and I love to talk about over a beer on a Friday night in Ballston, Virginia. But this morning, Stephanie and I were just taking a look at some of Kamala Harris's interview clips. She spoke to Oprah Winfrey yesterday, and, it's a rally. They're trying to make Kamala Harris likable. Oprah Winfrey has been a guru at that, right? She helps people sell books. She makes people famous, like Dr. Phil and others. She's giving Kamala Harris the Oprah treatment. And I don't know if you saw it, but it was not so hot. I mean, Stephanie and I were kind of talking about her style, like the past is in the past and the future is coming before us, right? All this stuff.
She says the same thing many times in a row.
Exactly. And I think, it's definitely this Oprah Winfrey, Kamala Harris conversation that has led to us now being at this moment number one on X.
We're number one.
We are now the number one live show.
Wow.
In
great.
politics on X this morning. So no pressure, Vince. Give us your take on Kamala Harris.
Well, I didn't watch the Oprah clip, so I don't know. I know there is a lot of backing from all the media agencies and whatnot, and so that seems a little unfair. On the other side, I think she did put up a good performance at the debate, more than or better than she's done before and what I've seen her do. I wish that Trump had performed a little bit better in that debate. I will say that, there are some things that I think are dangerous ideas of hers, like whether it's price fixing or taxes on unrealized gains, right, that people don't appreciate, that might have effects downstream more than the immediate taxpayer, right? But there are some things, on the other side, I think I saw that she wants to take away degree requirements for certain federal jobs, which is great, right? Like why do we need to have everybody go to a degree that's overpriced, et cetera, things like that. So, given our backgrounds, you could probably guess which side of the aisle I'm on. But that's where I see it. I see, especially down here in Florida, that there's a lot of maybe more Trump rhetoric going on. In fact, I was actually at a member of this boat club down here, and there are actually Trump flotillas going by, and so we happen to get into one. And I live in a divided house, right? We're on different sides of the aisle, which is difficult sometimes, but it was fun. I had my friend from Argentina up who actually worked the polls for Malay, and
Javier Milei. We're big Javier Milei fans here.
Yeah,
that has been like the bright spot in the world of shit that we libertarians have been in for the last 15, 20 years, hasn't it, Vince?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's like, look, he says, look, it's working, right? Like inflation is down in Argentina. It's stabilizing, and yes, it's harder and that's because the economy is getting better.
Now, I have a question. Were you ever in the Libertarian Party? Were you ever a member?
I don't believe I was ever a card-carrying member.
Okay.
So I volunteered. I volunteered significantly, and I remember this distinctly. I was like, "Hey, because of all these hours that I'm donating to the LP National, is there any way that I can just get the card?" I was a poor grad student at the time. I had no money, right? I was super poor. And they're like, no, sorry, we can't, we won't do that.
Yeah, they wouldn't take barter. They wouldn't do barter. They want to barter with gold, but they wouldn't barter with volunteer hours to get a membership card. Boo, libertarians.
So, you're not going to vote for Chase Oliver, the LP candidate?
Yeah, Vince, what do you think about the Libertarian Party this year?
I mean, honestly, like I've kind of, look, theoretically, back in the day, I think I was much more, hey, I'll support, right? I obviously voted for you, um, uh, Gary Johnson back in the day, or who was the guy? I can't even remember back
Oh, yeah.
then, 2012.
I voted for Gary Johnson. Yeah,
Bob
that's who
Barr.
it was, I believe.
Yeah, Bob Barr in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, whenever that was. But especially as I've had to, negotiate some of the more, I guess, complicated aspects of life. Like, look, there's got to be some practicality here, and I think, especially over the last 5-10 years, I've kind of abandoned the hey, this is a theoretical thing that can
Well,
happen.
here's the thing. I'm with you. My principles have stayed the same, Vincent. I still believe in limited government. Maybe I might be a little bit more hawkish than perhaps I used to be, just because of the deeper your depth of understanding of foreign policy, typically it might make you a little bit more hawkish, right? But I would say that my tactics have changed considerably, right? I don't try and get my ideas, into practice the same way that I used to. I was always a bit trollish, perhaps, but I still think that the principles of liberty, the Constitution, and limited government, and Austrian economics are the best way to create a healthy, flourishing society and civilization. But I also think, too, that it's the case, Vincent, that libertarians don't have all the answers. That I really don't think that there is an orthodox approach that can be taken that can solve all of the socioeconomic problems of the United States. I think that more likely the case is that you need a heterodox approach rather than thinking that you can necessarily apply some consistent theorem other than perhaps the laws in supply and demand, which are fairly rigid, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? Without getting into the weeds too much, I will say that I'm voting for Donald Trump because I think it's a practical matter, not because I think he has the same zeal for liberty that you and I do.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. It's more of a practical, what boils down to the practical application. Which candidate is gonna more align with all of my philosophy? At the end of the day, I also agree that there is no, right choice or, single ideology that's going to solve anything. Or I don't even know if a heterodoxy will do the same, right? Just because, look, we live in this complex environment. You have all of these different wants of individuals, right? And that's why I think we both believe that, freedom of choice is so important, is because there is no one dictating principle that can say, hey, this is going to solve the problems for everybody. And so, that said, like I said, I live in a divided household here, and I don't think that, my wife's opinions are bad or are coming from a bad place, right? I think we all want the same thing for everybody, which is, we want people to be happy and not have to rely on, or if they get into a bad spot, if they're not, that they'll be successful or as happy as they can be, right?
But the left loves to take advantage of people's empathy, right? Not just hers, but I mean, a lot of women out there, they care about people. They absolutely do. And you can't fault them for caring about people. But what you can fault the left for is weaponizing their empathy, right? Politicizing their empathy, taking advantage of their empathy, such that they don't want migrants and Haitians to have to starve to death or eat cats and on the heat streets of Haiti. But maybe it's not the best idea to bring cat eaters and voodoo practitioners and drop them off in the middle of Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 of them in a town the size of 60,000, right? That might overload the services, emergency services, police officers. None of them can drive. They're crashing into buildings. They might not be eating the cats, but still.
But you have to admit that, they do it on the right as well, right? Like,
Sure.
But it's not from a place of empathy. It's more of a place of fear, right? Of like, hey, if this idea is communism, right? Like we have to, XYZ, we have to adopt these maybe more far-reaching policies because of this fear-based
Well, a lot of times what you'll see is that, when we talk about the Unum Party, is that they're really just adopting the same policies, but the Republicans will say it's not socialism when we do it, right? And it grates on my nerves. Like, as much as I do like J.D. Vance, I heard a New York Post reporter who was writing a column about him the other day. So the thing that we really like about J.D. Vance is that he's really not bound by free market orthodoxy. He's really a lot more flexible in what he thinks the policies that are good for the American people, what needs to get across the finish line. And here I am contradicting myself on the question of orthodoxy to a point. But I mean, if you're not advocating for free markets, if you're not advocating for limited government, you're advocating for essentially the same thing that the left is advocating for. And then you're just saying it's not socialism when we do it, right? And there's this weird juxtaposition where, there's socialism. We either get, it's either multicultural socialism that we get from the left, or it's socialism for white people that you get on the right. Let's subsidize certain income families, and those people all just happen to be white, right? So it's their voters, their constituents, the politicians. Socialism for white people, socialism for minorities, socialism for white people. But at the end of the day, I don't care what color my socialism is. It sucks. It still sucks. It's all red.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even look at Elon Musk, right? Like how much subsidies does he take for SpaceX, right? Even though, like, look, I think people get overboard on both sides of the aisle, right? It's to say that, oh, he's horrible because he does XYZ, or he's horrible because he does ABC, right? But at the end of the day, there have been material advancements, and at the same time, there have been significant subsidies for performing these.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I've heard Elon Musk say that he doesn't think the subsidies should be there, but as long as they are there, it's kind of like Trump. It's like, if they offered us a child tax credit, right? It's our money. You think we're not going to take that
100%.
child
handouts. So we took the COVID checks that they were sending.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our money. They stole it from us. You know what I mean? They're giving it back. That's all it is. As a loan on a future payment. All it is. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, we are number 1 on X right now. Good morning. Yay. It's probably because that sexy Italian man over there on the screen. That's Vincent Mammo. He was one of the groomsmen in my wedding. We've been friends now for 20 years? 2008? Longer than 20 years, 22 years, pretty much. And we met as freedom fighters in Washington, D.C. When I was working at the Libertarian Party. Joining me on set in studio, my beautiful smoking hot redheaded Libertarian wife, Stephanie, and our beautiful baby Hazel, who's got the camera set up, ready to go. We've got 40 or like 36 more minutes or so left until we all we've got to do is raise $25 to unlock the bonus baby content. So get those Rumble Rant donations in, guys, or I recommend go to forlibertyshop.com. Since we've got an Italian here in the house, maybe we should ask him about this, because somebody requested a special shirt from me yesterday, Vince. Make Columbus Day great again. So I don't know. As an Italian, tell me your thoughts on Christopher Columbus. Is it anti-Italian discrimination?
It was always big in my household growing up, right?
Columbus Day
Yeah.
Columbus Day for Italians?
Yeah, we have no idea they have this whole culture going on.
I know. I didn't know this.
Yeah, and I think it was mostly because of espoused by Italian immigrants that came over as a representative. And so for me, at least, I remember every October 12th, it was a big deal. My mother made shirts and whatnot, and I think I even went as Columbus for one Halloween when I was maybe 6 years old or so.
How many Native Americans did your ancestors rape, Vince? Why don't you tell us? How many Native Americans did you kill? How much blood is on your hands from this slavery?
And that's the thing that kind of upsets me a little bit. Now, I'll be honest here about this, is that people get upset about the quote unquote atrocities that Columbus did. There are two things to keep in mind here. The vast majority of the history that we know about those voyages were written by a priest that was on the ships, right? That maybe didn't quite like him that much. He was a strong presence. He was an authoritarian figure, right? And so, of course, you can imagine that maybe this was a little bit biased. The other thing is that people think that, these Native Indians or Native Americans were these peaceful people, right? But, if you read the history, one of his first crews were completely and entirely eaten by one of these tribes.
They were cannibals?
Yes, 100%, absolutely, right? So it's not like, look, it's not like, hey, there was this one good side and there was this one evil side, right? I think at the end of the day, was he a little bit of a hot-headed, strong-tempered Italian man? Likely, right?
Yes.
Well, here's where I struggle. Wouldn't you attack people who were coming onto your property? Isn't that how the Native Americans saw Columbus?
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't even see it as private property to a certain extent. They just didn't like the competition for resources, and obviously they didn't like being enslaved, and it was the time of empires, right? From Rome until the end of World War I, it was nothing but empires, right? Everything was the war of empires, and they didn't think about human rights. Like, nobody was thinking about human rights. I mean, there had been the Magna Carta in the UK, but it wasn't until like the Declaration of Independence that like kind of democracy to a certain extent started to become this, more normalized throughout the world. I mean, you saw something, you liked it, you wanted it, you took it, right? As part of the empire. That's just how they operated. So, and the Native Americans operated if they had their own empires here in the United States, and they're amongst their native tribes, and they warred amongst each other. But again, Columbus, is he a hero in your household or is he a villain? In this house, Christopher Columbus is what?
I mean, I'll be completely honest here. We don't even really bring it up, and I honestly feel a little bit of shame to say that, right?
Shame, really?
Well, it's because you have a divided household. I'm sure your wife might feel a little differently.
She probably doesn't know anything about Christopher Columbus.
Well, more than that, right? Just like kind of denying the heritage aspect, right? Just from the perspective of like, hey, this is something that I grew up with. That was a strong, before all of this additional understanding was in place, right? Or appreciation of, hey, maybe he wasn't such a victor on both sides, right? But just kind of denying that is kind of what gets to me a little bit.
Yep. We're gonna move on to another topic. Good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. Glad to have you here. It's 8:29 a.m. Central Time here in Jefferson City, Missouri. My buddy Vincent Mammo joining us live right now. He's in Boca Raton, Florida, so it's an hour later there. But on set with me in my time zone is my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson. How are we doing, Steffi?
Oh, he's a little stirring a little bit.
Yeah.
I think she wants to be on camera.
Now would be a good time to unlock the bonus baby. So if we raise $25 more before the end of the show, then I'll turn on the bonus baby camera. And she's stirring, so now would be a good time to watch her because she's kind of like goo-gooing and gagaing. So get those Rumble Rant donations in, guys. We just got to raise $25 more before the end of the show. Maybe if you like the Make Columbus Day Great Again shirt, I would head over to forlibertyshop.com and pick that up, or maybe a box of our delicious Founding Flavors coffee would be a good purchase this morning as well.
We also have Caucasian shirts.
Yes. So if you're a fan of the Caucasians, as just in general,
right,
then we have like the Chad Caucasian shirt up there as well. So, and if you're Jewish, we've got the Chad, and he's got the Jewish nose.
We don't have an Italian shirt.
We don't have the Italians.
Oh,
we do have the minorities, right? Okay. Black people. And we have the Jews, and we have a variant of the Jews, which is just the tribe.
Yes.
Caucasians, minorities. Oh, we have Mexicans.
And we have the gays.
Yes. So all represented. So if you're into the identity politics thing, you can get your identity politics tees at forlibertyshop.com. The Caucasian shirt's quite popular. Joni Rankin donated $5, says back in the 80s when I taught in South Dakota, there was no Columbus Day. It was called Native American Day. Yeah, they changed it. They've changed it. Yes. Nelson65 donated $5 for the baby. Thank you.
How
do you feel about that real quick, Vince? And then we'll move on, really. Taking Christopher Columbus Day, Native American Day.
Like I mean, going back to it, right? Like people even tearing down the statues, right? And so there's actually a church I used to go to in DC. It's the Italian church over there. And they had a statue of Columbus up there. And because, once again, just going back, that it was this representative of the Italian-American immigrant experience, right? Just celebrating.
Columbus Circle in New York City. Is he still there? Is it still Columbus Circle in New York City? I mean, that was Trump Towers, like the judge lived right there on that corner for a little while. Like Central Park West and 59th Street is Trump International Hotel at Columbus Circle. And Columbus is statue is right there in the middle of New York City.
I'm
You'd
sure
think
the
somebody
liberals would have torn him down by now.
Yes. So on to the next topic. Vincent, men's mental health is a topic that we frequently address here on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. And I thought that this tweet was interesting. And you and I, we've talked about mental health issues in the past as men. And here it is. Steffi, she's, if you want to.
Oh.
Yeah, I would go grab her. Yes. Tell you what.
I'll just go give her a bottle.
Go give her a bottle.
Chair.
Yes. And then Vince and I will take this away for a little while. Okay,
because
Steffi?
I'm not a man. So.
Yes. Thank you. Men's mental health. So somebody had tweeted on September 12th that men's mental health matters. And they tweeted it over and over and over again. And someone responded to this thusly. They said that if men's mental health mattered to men, we just unlocked the bonus baby content. So there she is right there on the screen. You guys unlock the bonus baby. They can see her now. Vince, someone says, if men's mental health mattered to men, they'd be creating safe spaces for themselves and each other, pursuing therapy and creating community. Instead, they perpetuate the very behavior systems that have handicapped them in the first place. They refuse to support or create community amongst each other, severely damage the women in their lives who try to care for them, and attack women online for not doing the work for them in replies to tweets like the one below, the men's mental health matters topic. So do you think men's mental health doesn't matter to men, Vince? What's your take on this?
I think it's challenging. I think it's something that's changing for sure. From what I see, and my son's only going to be 9 next month, so I don't know from that generation, but from what I see from Z and Alpha, right, is that they are a little bit more in tune. For us, at least, and especially coming from this Italian household, right, with my grandfather, like, you don't
Nobody
cry,
cared.
right?
Nobody cared about your mental health growing up.
Right. I remember I could tell you this story definitively. Like, I just like learning how to do things. And so I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and I found my grandmother's knitting needles, and I must have been maybe 10, 12 years old. And I was like, oh, grandma, teach me how to knit. And so I remember I was knitting and whatnot. And my grandfather said, no, that's not for boys, right? You don't knit. So, from that place, I think it's more difficult for men to open up. Look, I can tell you definitively, I see a therapist, and I think it's been extremely helpful. And I know your wife, Steph, is in social work. I think it's been very helpful, but I think it's a challenge. I think it's a thing that a lot of men, I don't want to say struggle with, but are reluctant to do.
Well, the thing that helped to drive this tweet viral is the response to it from this Wilfred Riley character. And here's what he had to say about, men creating their own safe spaces, Vince. It says that prior to 1979 to 1984, men in the United States and UK had a whole range of veterans clubs, golf courses, cigar bars, pubs, supper clubs, sporting leagues, and etc. for men only. Women sued to invade almost all of these and imposed a whole series of unwanted rules. Membership, think Eagle Scouts, often dropped by half. So there really haven't been a lot of spaces where men like yourself or myself, other than a private one-on-one therapist situation, there are places where we can go and be with other men and talk about our issues in a way that is comfortable with us. We always have to speak about our issues in a feminine approved manner. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, I do want to address the Boy Scout thing just for a minute. So I was an Eagle Scout, and my son is in Cub Scouts now, and I'm actually the Cub Master of his little pack. But this is an issue that we I don't want to say we struggle with, but it's something that has changed in the pack. Is that we now are open to we're not Boy Scouts, we're now Scouts BSA, and I definitely have some parents that say, why is this the case? Why do we do this? Well, membership actually dropped for a lot of reasons, especially for us. During COVID, membership plummeted. Right, there's all the lawsuits against the Boy Scouts, and membership plummeted, and so. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish? And at that age, is that really something that's meaningful? Probably not, right? What's more meaningful is the lessons that are learned, the friendship, right? the Scout Law, being trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, etc., things like that. So, I think that's an unfair characterization, at least for the Scouts. I think it's beneficial in that regime. However, back to the original point, I definitely have friends or group of friends that I go to and we can talk. It's not an official, sponsored, sanctioned, club or anything, but like, you, me, and our other previously named but will not be named again friend, we'll get together and we'll shoot the proverbial shit, right? And then
But
our
not
Russian
everybody,
friends.
but not everybody, Vince. Like, not all men are kind of like you and Mark and I are kind of, I won't say exceptional necessarily, but like maybe we're just oddballs in the way that, like, we probably communicate our deepest, darkest fears and emotions to one another, maybe more than the average man might do. We have a strong friend group. Here's the thing. Most men our age, Vince, they don't have friends like this. They don't have friends like you and more, not naming who he is. They don't like most adults that I know that are about our age and stuff like that. It's rare in the community when like friends just get together and do friends things. We have some friends here in our community, but for the most part, like it's, like the guy friends that I have here in Jefferson City, they still struggle to talk about the things that are bothering them or their deeper problems in the way that I think they probably need to, because you can see many times that they're hurting, they're struggling, they've got something going on and they can't talk about it. It is, and a lot of it is because, the ladies aren't listening. Always listening.
Well, let me ask you. Let's say, unfortunately, Stepper and Hazel weren't in the picture ever, right? And you're in Jefferson City, and there's a club where it's like, hey, men's discussion group. Would you join that?
Maybe. It depends, right? If they did anything interesting on top of that, if it was like a book club or something, perhaps. You know me, I always just threw my life away in booze and women, so.
Yeah.
If anybody ever had, like, if there were sorrows to be drowned, it was in a very thin layer of Jameson's whiskey for me. But I have my problems like anyone else, but not as much as other people we know.
We did forge our friendships in the 20s, right? When we were in the 20s.
Yes.
And so I think that's persisted. And, if I had to do it now, I mean, I work remotely. And so, for me to establish new friends where I'm living now, like, it would be virtually impossible
to make friends.
Yeah,
it is that situation where a lot of adults, they really can't find other adult friends because what we see now is that the best chance that we might have is with other parents. For example, when you had Frankie and he was born, were there a couple of years in like the first 2 years or so where like you did like meet other parents? Was that an opportunity to kind of like bond with other people over shared experiences, or no?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's, like I said, I meet people through Scouts. I meet people through the school and whatnot, things like that. But it's not to the level where it's like, hey, let's go get a beer. Let's do X, Y, Z.
Right. Man, it's hard to make friends as an adult, Vince. It's hard to make friends, and people need friends, and men need friends. Right. Men need someone to talk to about our problems. Joni Rankin over in the chat says men need to go camping together and powwow. I do it with women periodically, and it's wonderful. Boy, wouldn't I love that? We're all like trying to find time to make things like that happen. But specifically, though, Vincent, to address the question of, private property and baking the cake and, should the Jewish baker have to, the question of whether or not men should legally be allowed to have their own golf clubs, their own society that is absent, devoid of women, identified as such or otherwise, that we can go to and be men without the prying eyes of the fairer sex. Shouldn't that be legally allowed to exist, Vincent?
Yeah. So look, from a purely libertarian theoretical perspective, yes, I think it's a great idea. I think people should be allowed to have freedom of contract, right? And I think I think it's ultimately beneficial by creating these groups, right? So that you have this, this bonding experience, whether it's camping or hunting or fishing or whatever it is, right? Especially and uniquely for men. I can tell you definitively that my wife's part of an all-female shooting club, right? So, that's something that she can do. on the other end of the spectrum, right? Like looking at the Constitution, gender is a protected class, right? And so I don't know how you reconcile those two. The idea and the benefit and that you get from having these groups with that protection. So if you're asking me from the pure perspective of, hey, would this be a good thing? I think ultimately, yes. I don't know how you implement it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. I mean, for the longest time, I've always thought that for modern women, equality would be a step down. And if we actually enforced without protected class, if we actually enforced things equally as such, women would have to take a step down. They would be excluded from certain locations, right? And they sued to get into these clubs and to get into these areas. And now, though, Vincent, and this is a problem, a fear that I have as a father who's raising a daughter. Now I have to worry about whether or not there will be a man in my daughter's locker room one day when she's playing sports. How are you dealing with that? I mean, we're both libertarians. We both think that adults should be able to lead the lifestyles that they lead. But how am I supposed to deal with a society that wants to put perverts in my daughter's locker room? How would you deal with that, Vincent?
Well, it's a complex, challenging issue. Not to dodge it a little bit, but I'm lucky in a way that my son is not athletic at all. He takes after his father, so he's never gonna.
And my daughter will learn karate, so if she goes into that room, that's a dangerous changing room to enter.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me personally, and I think it comes down to like, what are you trying to in a sport, right? If we're looking at the sport, or playing sports, or some of these swimming competitions, or athletics, or anything else, right? What is fair ultimately, right? And what is fair at the end of the day? And like I believe people should be able to live who they are, right? Without anybody, the government in particular, telling them what to do. But at the end of the day, you still have to be respectful of others' individual liberties.
Right, but how much respect do you have to have for someone who gets onto the sports pitch, let's say, and crushes your daughter's skull because they're a biological male? I mean, how much respect can you have for someone like that naturally?
I think that's a fault in the organizations, right? Not the individual, right? It's a fault of the organization to say that should not be fair, right? If there's this, if you have a different level of biological development or whatnot, right? And you have that in children's sports too, right? You have different age ranges where you don't have teenagers playing against 10-year-olds, and so it's not a fault of. Just like go back to your example of Trump taking advantage of some of these tax loopholes, right? If this is allowed by the organization, then that's how it is, right? You can't fault the individual, right? That is who they are. They're expressing who they are, and they're adhering to the laws or the rules and regulations of this organization, right? That's my issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, the crossover from public-private happens quite frequently. And in, for example, public education, you may not have a choice, right? That's the government is essentially foisting their own standards on the community to an extent, right? Private clubs, and I kind of agree with you there to an extent. But I think that the problem of the biological males playing in women's sports, I actually think that's one of those problems that's going to solve itself, because I think it's a problem that is generated. That's that weaponized empathy that we were talking about before, right? That we don't want to hurt people's feelings, so we allow biological males into women's sports so that they can be them best selves, and you go girl, boss queen, yes queen, slay kind of an attitude, right? So and then what happens is then they're going to start seeing their daughters getting destroyed, getting crushed. And after a while, I think the yes, queen, slay, the girl boss, the weaponized empathy is going to finally be pulled up. Because once something starts to affect you or your families, it's one thing for these leftist female Karens, these white, privileged, affluent, liberal female leftist, Vincent. It's one thing when it doesn't affect them, right? They love having a transgender kid themselves. But if it affects them to where they have a daughter who's normal and goes into a sport and sees their daughter getting crushed or their scholarship taken away by a biological male, when it affects them, then they might start clawing back some of these policies that they've enacted once it actually harms them. But they're more than happy to pass laws and do things that harm other people as long as it doesn't affect them, because of course white liberal leftist female Karen types are the most protected class of any civilization at any time in history ever at all, right?
Yeah, it's TBD, right? I think I don't want to say it's the Wild West right now. I remember even before you left DC, what was that, 10, 12 years ago, we were starting to talk about this issue, and I didn't even know it was a thing. It was not even a blip on my radar as an issue to discuss. And you were ahead of the curve back then, as you always are. So I agree. I think it's going to pan out. I think we'll have to live through this period of figuring it out, and hopefully it comes to a place where we have the optimal solution, right, where it's everybody can choose to be who they want to be, and yet still we preserve this ethic of competitiveness, sportsmanship.
Vince, you're so calm, you're so casual, you're so relaxed about these things. Maybe it's because you lived in Florida, but you've always had that very surfer dude vibe. Me, I'm always like hopped up like I'm on crack, I'm like, Vince is always bringing me back down. You're the yin to my yang for sure, my friend.
Well, it's very mutual and appreciated, dude.
Vincent Mamo, you live in Boca Raton, Florida. We've been best friends for decades now. That's never going to change. Hoping that we can go scuba diving again with you, me, Steffi, and everybody. And we miss you very much. Is there anything that you'd like to plug or promote, considering we are #1 on X right now? So you've got a nice sized audience, Vince. So if there's anything that you want people to know about, or read your Substack or whatever it is, or maybe there's even a charity that you, or like your Boy Scouts organization, right? If you could plug or promote anything, now's your chance.
Sure. Yeah, I guess Pack 323 in Boca Raton. So always looking for new members, but otherwise, no. I lead a relatively boring life at this point. So no Substacks for me. No.
He's the most boring patent attorney / rocket scientist / Boy Scout dad and best friend of myself that there is, I guess. So boring. Oh yeah. Hey Vince, we love you, buddy. We hope to see you again real soon.
Love you too. Thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure.
There you go, Vincent. There you go. Freedom Family Friday. Vincent Memo, honorary member of the Peterson fam. Are you guys enjoying the Wake Up America show today? You must have, because you unlocked all the bonus content. You unlocked the bonus baby. There she is. Steffi, show us the baby. Can we see the baby? Show us the little baby bottle right there. Is she having a little bottle? Can you hold up baby Hazel to the camera, or either that or bring the camera to her? Let's see. There she is. There she is. She's probably going to spew. Did she? Oh, she did? Oh, okay. Did she blow up? Did she blow out everything that she had in her tummy? Was it like a full clearance? A big one, but not huge. Okay. Yeah. So let's see if we can see her hair a little bit. Okay. See if we can turn her around there. Look at that orange head. Carrot top. Did she do it? She just yacked? And we just missed it. All right. Well, Stephanie, you obviously have done a fantastic job today. And Hazel as well. We love you very much. And we love you, little baby Hazel. Normally, we would have you up here. If you'd like to come up here and say goodbye, you can. Just bring little Hazel up onto the set. Why don't you make your way over in the studio here as we say our goodbyes. Friday's a beautiful day. Tomorrow I play in the golf tournament with my dad. Kansas City, that's going to be a good time. Here we go. Make your way. Redheads, we need paging all the redheads. If they can, please make their way in the studio over to the stage. Paging all redheads to the set. Let's watch her come on over here. There she comes, and sitting down right there. There she is. Beautiful. Hi, gorgeous.
She feels better. She has some food now.
Good.
She gets hungry every few hours, so.
She does. She's got to feed.
She ate at 6 something this morning.
She normally wakes up right around this time. Yeah.
Yeah, she always knows.
Well, the Wake Up America show is a project of love from the Peterson family to you, me, Austin Peterson, my smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie, here also supporting my entrepreneurial endeavors. Little baby Hazel with her beautiful little ginger head. She's saying, that's how she says she's hungry. She makes those little noises. She's like, Mommy, give me the boob. Give me the boob, Mommy. Look at her smiling. She's smiling. Isn't that nice? Oh, so cute. Oh, look at that. Look at those big smiles. A little bit. Here, let me turn it down. Let's see if she'll give us maybe one more little smile before we go. She wants the boob, Mom. Give me the boob. I need that boob. All right. Well, I get next dibs on that one after Hazel.
Somebody was wondering what we were doing during the commercial break because we've been talking so dirty.
A little frisky. All righty. Well, it's time for us to run. We hope you guys appreciated the content today and that you appreciated meeting our friend Vincent Mamo. As you exit through the Grift Shop. 4libertyshop.com is the website. The number 4, 4libertyshop.com. Guys, go ahead and visit on your way out. Get yourself something nice like a box of coffee or a beautiful t-shirt from our shop. If you like Javier Milei, we've got the best Javier Milei merch in the damn world. That's right. The whole world. We are the best. So visit 4libertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. We'll see you guys on Monday at 7 a.m. And Stephanie, last words?
Be free.
See you guys on Monday on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys.
Face Supreme Court showdown over free speech rights. State boards use outdated laws to target content creators, raising urgent questions about free speech in the digital age. Old school journalists use typewriters and flashbulb cameras. North Carolina content creator Michael Jones gathers information with drones. He follows all privacy and safety laws, but unless the Supreme Court intervenes, state regulators stuck in the past will shut him down. In his petition for review, filed September 9th, Jones seeks First Amendment protection for his work. The underlying question is urgent. What counts as speech in the digital age as technology advances from movable type to thermal sensor quadcopters and next-generation tools not yet invented? Jones does not produce a community newspaper, podcast, or any type of political commentary. He takes aerial photographs of private property with the owner's permission. Then he stitches the images together into high-definition maps for clients. He gathers information, organizes it, and publishes it, just like Benjamin Franklin and other print pioneers in the 1700s. The only difference is the purpose. Jones does not seek to shape public opinion. He just wants to earn an honest living. The First Amendment should protect him the same as if he were producing books or art. Millions of content creators would benefit from this protection, including coaches, consultants, professors, trainers, and advisors with specialized expertise. End-of-life doulas Akila Murphy and Donna Peaser talk about death. Traffic light enthusiast Mats Jarlstrom discusses mathematical formulas for timing yellow lights. Retired engineer Wayne Nutt talks about math. All these individuals have received cease and desist letters from regulators citing occupational licensing laws that attempt to block their speech. More recently, censors came after Ryan Crownholm in Los Angeles. His so-called crime? Using publicly available information from sites like Google Maps to make digital drawings. Homeowners and contractors use these drawings for permit applications when they need to show proposed locations for pools, sheds, and similar improvements. Other clients include hotels, resorts, and farmers markets that want visual representations of their land for planning purposes. Like Jones, Crownholm also petitioned the Supreme Court for First Amendment review on September 9th. Our public interest law firm, the Institute for Justice, represents both men. Courts sometimes call what they do occupational or professional speech. Legal opinions extend the First Amendment to all manner of words and images, but the Supreme Court has said little about occupational speech and the licensing laws that attempt to stifle it. As our colleague writes in the Harvard Law Review, this ambiguity has led some lower courts to conclude, in conflict with virtually all established First Amendment principles, that occupational speech is entitled to no meaningful constitutional protection. Nifla v. Becerra, a 2018 Supreme Court case from California, clarified some of this misunderstanding. A 5-4 majority held that occupational speech does not exist in a separate, lower-tier category. Speech is not unprotected merely because it is uttered by professionals, the High Court ruled. Despite this clarification, abuses continue. The attacks against Jones and Crownholm illustrate how regulators cling to power. To skirt NIFLA, they simply redefine speech as conduct, which becomes easier with new technology. NIFLA dealt with printed notices, which are easily recognized as speech. However, people are not so sure about aerial photographs and geographic information system maps. Regulators exploit this uncertainty. The North Carolina Board of Examiners for Engineers and Surveyors sent Jones his first warning in 2018, the same year as the NIFLA ruling. Regulators eventually told him he was guilty of the unlicensed practice of land surveying because his aerial maps contained basic information about distances. Even a scale bar, they claim, can turn an aerial image into an illegal, unlicensed land survey. Surveyors measure property lines for deeds and other legal documents. Jones does not. His clients understand that. If they want official documents, they go elsewhere. Crownholm's site maps are similar. Yet in 2021, the California Board for Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists accused him of surveying without a license. Both cases underscore the need for Supreme Court guidance. New technology can be intimidating, but people have been gathering, organizing, and publishing information for centuries. Regulators need to respect this and stay within their lanes. Land surveying boards should have no problem finding the outer limits of their authority. Boundary setting is what they do. Yet they continue to encroach on the realm of speech. When this happens, courts must step in and draw the line for them.
Haunted by high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house, but hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At 4libertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. Or your candy. 4libertyshop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Petersen stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.